Namaste. On behalf of Project Self, United Consciousness, I, Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomar, welcome all of you in this global celebration of United Consciousness, International Week of Peace. UNESCO in its constitution writes that war begins in the mind of the man. And that's why even the constructs and defenses of peace also needs to be built in the mind of the man. Peace is our birthright. Three kinds of peace. My peace with myself, peace within me. Second, peace with the people around me. And third, peace on the planet, in the world in general. But due to limited identities, it appears that peace on the planet is under great threat. Limited identities of fundamentalism of religion, intolerant thoughts, wealth divide, caste divide, divide on the basis of region, fanatic nationalism, status, color of skin, racism, casteism, divide on the basis of species, human beings consider themselves owner of all the species. Divide on the basis of gender, sex orientation, habitat even. Human beings consider themselves owner of the whole planet and leads to global warming. When this divide, because of these divides, peace which should naturally flow has to be established by forces of peacekeeping. And that's why 25 years ago in United Nations General Assembly, we all as a planet adopted a resolution for culture of peace. And today, we are also celebrating 76th year of Declaration of Human Rights for the people on the planet, where dignity, equality, and justice is upheld. But it seems that we didn't improve our progress enough in that. We are seriously off track on Agenda 2030 we set for ourselves. 1 in 8 people globally is still suffering from mental disorder. Suicide is being the second leading cause of death among youth today. But still, global defense budget is twice of the global health budget. International disarmament expenditure is only 0.039% of the annual military expenditure in 2013. So United Nations alone can't do it. And that is why United Consciousness celebrates this United Nations International Day of Peace, which is a sincere attempt to raise the consciousness of the planet. Which could not be achieved by the stroke of pen or by the forces or by the resolutions can be achieved by the resolution of mankind, by rising consciousness of all. It is rising consciousness that before taking any action, I will ask 3 questions from myself. Question number 1, whether by this action will lead to uphold and sustain peace within me. Second, whether this action which I am taking will improve or sustain my peace with the people around. And third, whether the action I am taking will uphold or sustain the peace on the planet. Because peace is not only absence of conflict. At individual level, peace is the presence of the feeling of joy, serenity, dignity, hope, freedom in me. With other people, peace stands for joyful interpersonal relationships based on love and equality, where I can see me in you, you in me, and us in all. Peace on the planet is also celebrating oneness and this diversity beyond limited divides. So every action which we take should end with disseminating more peace on the planet. In Sanskrit, peace is called Shanti. So peace within myself, peace with others, and peace in the world also. United Consciousness International Week of Peace celebration is one of the world's biggest celebration of United Nations International Day of Peace. The celebration begins on 14th of September, and this celebration will continue till 22nd of September with a hope that even if this event is over, the celebration of peace and happiness will continue resonating in everybody's life on the planet. In this program, life coaches, spiritual masters, academicians, public representatives, public servants, scientists, artists, bureaucrats, and all statesmen of repute are coming from different parts of the world, from all 6 continents of the world, because we stand together for a peaceful world. Dear friends, let's join hand together in saying, before we do anything and after we do anything, invoking the higher within and saying, Om Shanti, may there be peace within me. Om Shanti, may there be peace around me. Om Shanti, may there be peace on the planet, in the world. On behalf of Project Self, European Yoga Federation, Yoga Australia, Yoga Vidya Spiritual Council in Africa, AYT, and other important sister organizations of United Consciousness, I welcome all of you to join the celebration for the joy of life. Namaste.
We are delighted to introduce Mr. Mohit Kumar, a distinguished HR leader whose dynamic 20-year career has significantly shaped organizations across diverse and competitive industries. Known for his expertise in navigating complex transactions, he has been instrumental in building empowered and talented workforce in cross-cultural environments. As a seasoned strategist, he excels in defining organization structure and aligning human capital with business goals. His ability to enhance organizational capability, foster culture, and optimize performance has been a catalyst for driving revenue and profit growth. His role as a trusted advisor to senior management highlights his deep understanding of business needs and his commitment to delivering results. His specialties include strategic business planning, organization restructuring, global business practices, and change management. He is also renowned for his skill in leadership and succession development, executive coaching, and mentoring large teams. He focuses on organizational effectiveness and employee relations, underscores his human-centered approach to leadership and management. Mr. Mohit's profound impact on organization success and his unwavering dedication to fostering a thriving business environment make him a remarkable leader and a valued asset to any organization. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Mohit Kumar.
Most welcome, Mohitji. I welcome you, and Mr. Prasad joins me in welcoming you.
Namaskar ji.
Good morning, good evening, depending on
Good evening. Yeah. So I was listening to you. It was really mesmerizing. The Shanti for the self, for people around, and for the larger world. Mesmerizing.
Most welcome, Mohitji. We are all waiting to listen from you about transitioning from intellectual quotient to spiritual quotient for inner fulfillment. Next 13 minutes are all yours.
Absolutely fine. Thank you so much.
Looking forward.
So inner fulfillment, yeah, that's the longing of every soul, right? And as Aurobindo says in his Life Divine, that is the aspiration and the destination for an individual mind is to merge with the collective mind. Right? So, what will give that inner fulfillment? Is it something which is limited by design, and that is where I mean our intellect, or it is something which is unlimited, infinite, omnipresent, that is our spirit? So, what will be uh, the right choice with respect to transitioning? Right? So, this is where we move from intellect to spirit, from IQ to SQ, and from logic to magic. Yeah. Everyone looks forward to magic in life, and it's not so difficult because we are born with that. It's just a matter of removing the dirt around and being in touch with that magic. Right? So I'll utilize the wisdom of our rishis in communicating that message, something that inspires me in transitioning from IQ to SQ, and that is what I attempt. As Dr. Vikrant was saying, that is good for self, peace for self, good for others around, peace for self around, and good for the entire planet and peace for the entire planet. I'll request the presentation to be put up. Looking forward to the next slide, please. So mindful action. This is again inspired by Dr. Tomar again. That is Yatra Yogeshwar Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanodhara, Tatra Tatra Shuri Vijay Bhuti Dhava Nitri Matri Mama. So if we can see over here, Lord Vishnu is sitting amidst all the chaos, uh, amidst all and there's a serpent on his head, but on the other hand he is sorted. He is in his own centeredness. That's the conscious leadership, that's the centered leadership, that's the mindful attention that the leadership needs in the organization of today, which is more which is more than any time. This is VUCA at this point of time. So centeredness is something that is needed to bring the abundant opulence, to bring the abundant victory, to bring the victory outside and the victory within. Yeah. So that's my inspiration of a conscious leader. Next slide, please. Detached, committed action. We think that we cause things to happen. The only thing which is in our hands is devoting all our actions to that Almighty and let Him decide the results of that action of the way He wants. Right? कर्मण्येव अधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्म फल हेतु भूर्मा ते संगोस्त कर्मणि. So this is the inspiration for me in terms of mindful action, irrespective of the consequences. The consequences, the results are a function of many factors. But what I control is the action which is devoted to the Lord. I'm in His service, and let him get things done from me the way He wants to get done. So that's the detached, committed action. The next one is my favorite. Um, Requesting the next slide, please. So this is about self-management. We're talking about the peace for self, and our scriptures define that beautifully. The process of that is defined over there very beautifully. This is from Gita again. Dhyato Vishan Punsa Sangasteshu Pajate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kamat Krodho Vijayate. While contemplating the objects of sense, a person develops attachment for them. With such attachment comes lust, and from lust comes the anger. The next shloka in this is Krodhat Bhavati Samoha samohat smriti vibhrama, smriti bhanshat buddhi nashat pranashati. So when the person is in anger, he loses his wisdom, and with the loss of wisdom, the ability to think through uh, rationally, ethically, that is destroyed, and that is where the person falls from grace. So this is the process that is explained in expecture. That is focus on the inner self. The moment we start focusing and paying attention more to the object world, that is where the process begins. So being driven from within is what is the call over here. Looking forward to the next one. This is what Dr. Tomar was talking about. That is, entire world is our home. Entire world needs that peace from within, peace for everybody around, peace for the entire planet, and it comes from that illusion that is I am different from others. It comes from that illusion that I'm not connected to others. The matter of the fact is that all of us are interconnected with all that is living or non-living. Yeah. We are the manifestation of same energy. That is what this shloka talks about. I am nijaha paroveti garna lagu chesam udacharita nam tu vasudhaiv kutumbakam. So, larger good is a real self good, and the idea of self includes all to be connected. What is good and sustainable for planet is also good and sustainable for individuals and the business. It is no different if you just look at it a little deeper. The next slide, please. The conscious leadership examples in our own mythology, I'll say history. We have the representation of negative leadership in Duryodhana, but on the other hand, there's a lot of positive manifestations like Krishna, Yudhishthir, and Arjun. So when the leader is expressing his happiness and joy, he should be like Lord Indra. When he's punishing, he's like Yama, and when he's donating, he's like Kuber, and while fighting against the enemies, he's like fire. The depth of ocean that we just saw in the previous slide, and the height of mountain like Himalaya, and tolerance capacity like Mother Earth. That is what the ingredients of a conscious leadership. And in different degrees, our own leaders demonstrate that conscious leadership, but it is good and it can be better if we are in touch with ourselves, and if we are in touch with our consciousness. Dr. Thomas was talking about elevating our consciousness. That is what we as leaders can do to continuously keep working on elevating our consciousness. Next slide, please. So, importance of love and compassion in an organization. I remember seeing Mahabharat serial once I was child, right? So, and the Ras Leela was no, the song which was there behind that. Vasana pe sadhana ki jeet ke pratik ka. That is Ras Leela is the victory of tapasya, penance over the lust actually. So that is the love and compassion that a leader, a boss brings in from within to the team around, to the larger organization, and in the process impact the larger world. It begins from the love and compassion, feeling that love and compassion within, and then spreading it all around. The workplace becomes a place of joy, happiness, what else we are looking for. This is what the inner fulfillment is all about. And the process is there. We just need to follow it. Next slide, please. Yoga karmasu kaushlam. So work is worship. When our mind is united with that Almighty, we dedicate our work to the Almighty. The attention that comes to the work that we are doing is also His attention. We become the instruments for doing His work, and that is where yoga karmasu kaushlam, that is, yoga is skill in work. So that is something that we experience, whether it be a musician, whether it be a carpenter, whether it be a painter, or whether it be a corporate guy. If one is dedicated to and the mind is connected with the Almighty, everything being done by me as an instrument is His will, actually. Next slide, please. Wealth, knowledge, and power. Yeah. Ya Devi Sarvbhuteshu Matrupen Sasta Namastasai 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 Namo Nama. While we focus on elevating our consciousness, we do need wealth to give energy to our projects that we have in mind, to do the work of the Almighty. And that is where we respect the goddess as Lakshmi, Ya Devi, Sarvbhutoshu, Lakshmi Rupen Sasta, Namastasai, 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 Namo Nama. Next slide, please. And the goddess of knowledge, that is Saraswati. Ultimately, what are we doing our projects for? To get that ultimate knowledge, to get that realization, to get the purpose of our life or the multiple lifetimes. Yeah, and that knowledge, striving for that knowledge, is possible in every profession, including the corporate world. Ya Devi Sarvbhuteshu Vidya Rupen Sasta Namastasai 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 Namo Nama. And the power of the power to do good, and the power to do good to self, to the people around, and to the entire planet around. Without the Shakti, even Shiv is Shav. Shiv is the Lord Shiva in the Indian mythology, and Shakti is the goddess Durga. And without the support of Shakti, even Shiv is like a dead body. So that is where one needs power and utilization of that for the larger good. Next slide, please. Coaching and mentoring to enhance the inner fulfillment. This picture reminds of when Ramji is sitting on one side of the ocean, and everybody is thinking who will go to Lanka, crossing the ocean. And that is where Jamband comes and tells Lord Hanuman, Ka chup saad raha balwana, that why are you silent, the mighty one? So this is the role that Jamband is playing as a coach, reminding one of the immense capabilities within. Yeah. So all of us need that coach, and that coach is also within. If you look at the color of Jamband, that's black. Right? The black is the unconscious, which is there, and unconscious is the repertoire of all the knowledge, all the wisdom, all the coded information that we need. Yeah, so being in touch with that consciousness within is the best coaching that we can have, apart from the self extension in others who can come as coaches, mentors, and inspiration. So that is again for the inner fulfillment, and it's we see that happening in the organizations, coaching and mentoring. We need to do it with the dedication to divine and making the place again that is good for self, good for people around, and good for the entire planet. Next one, please. Awareness of personal purpose, that is being in touch with our purpose, and that is the best thing. And that is what this picture is saying, that Arjuna has to be true to his purpose. And it's good to die while performing one's duties instead of following somebody else's purpose. Next slide, please. The last one, that is all the wisdom, all the consciousness, elevation that needs to lead to a focused action, because even the lions need to work towards their food. So the lion within also has to wake up and do the hard work and enterprise. Udhimen his danti karyani na manorithai nahi supta singhas prashanti mukhi mega. So that's all from my side. Let there be peace for self. Let there be peace for people around. Let there be peace for the entire planet. Om Shanti.
Thank you.
Over to you,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Tuk.
Okay. Thank you very
Thank you
Prasad ji.
so much, Mohit Kumar ji. Nice to meet you on in a forum like this. So you touched upon many different things. I mean, it's really a rich collection of words of wisdom, and if you apply them into practical life, success is yours. You mentioned that your favorite is that ladder of failure. I'm just creating the phrase. Anger creates disillusionment, and then it causes lack of discretion, and then the downfall begins there. I also very much like the way you describe Jambawan's symbolic meaning. Like the subconscious mind is a storehouse of wisdom and knowledge, and once it comes out, there's really no limit. Nothing can stop you. And then you really touched upon a practical aspect of it, which is you need wealth. Unfortunately, for practical purposes, you need to be able to get things done. Knowledge and power are extremely important. And the last point that you made, there's no substitute for hard work. I absolutely loved it. And I hope people who are listening to this can definitely benefit from this kind of wisdom. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Prasad.
Mohit ji.
Thank you for having me here. I'm feeling blessed. All the best.
On behalf of
Thank you, Dr.
United
Vikram.
Consciousness, I thank Mr. Mohit Kumar for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness. Thank you so much. Welcome to United Consciousness, where one consciousness, one being, is more than just a belief. It's a movement, a global initiative that unites us all in the pursuit of peace, spiritual wisdom, and universal happiness. It's a global mission that's touching life across continents. If you have ever felt the need for connection, spiritual guidance, or just a sense of belonging, you are in the right place. Welcome to United Consciousness. United Consciousness is not just an organization. It's a living, breathing community dedicated to enhance the holistic well-being of over 3 lakh individuals worldwide. Our mission is simple yet profound. One consciousness, one being. We believe that by connecting with our higher selves and each other, we can live lives filled with purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. Together, we are building a global community that shares this vision, helping each other unlock our full potential. Our logo says it all. The lotus symbolizes enlightenment, peace, and infinite universal consciousness. The petals represent all beings in the universe, interconnected and overlapping, signifying our togetherness. And that white essence in the center, it's the one source from which all beings originated. Every detail carries meaning, right down to the 14 petals, which reminds us to transcend our limited identities. And speaking of transcendenting identities, our vision aligns perfectly with the global movement of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is one family. With the presence in over 100 countries, our reach is global. We are not just spreading a message, we are creating a cohesive network of individuals and organizations working together to eliminate limited identities and promote peace and happiness across the planet. But what does joining United Consciousness means to you? It means gaining access to tools and resources that will help you build mental resilience, overcome stress, depression, and anxiety, and elevate your spiritual journey. And that's just the beginning. Our live question and answer sessions with the world-renowned speakers provide you with the opportunity to get all your life questions answered, whether you are seeking spiritual upliftment, emotional intelligence, or simply a community that stands and supports you. United Consciousness is here to help you thrive in this complex world. So why wait? Join us on this transformative journey. Let's create a world where peace and happiness are not just a distant ideals, but a tangible reality we can all experience here and now. United consciousness, one being, together we can make the difference. I'm honored to welcome and introduce Swami Mitrananda, a dynamic, inspiring disciple of Gurudev, His Highness Swami Chinmayananda. He is a beacon of wisdom and energy. As the director of All India Chinmaya Yuva Kendra, publisher of Chinmaya Udghosh, an international youth magazine, he has spearheaded innovative national initiatives like the Youth Empowerment Program and has trained more than 300 youth to serve India. His other initiatives include Awakening Indians to India, empowering youth to unlock their full potential. His unique approach blends outdoor experiential learning, adventure, and creativity to impart Vedantic wisdom, making him a captivating speaker and beloved mentor. A sought-after spiritual teacher, he regularly lectures on Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, and traditional texts to audience worldwide. Swami Mitrananda's leadership also extends to the corporate world through the Chinmaya Institute of Management, where he blends spirituality with management insights. His dynamic personality and commitment to inspire positive changes make him a revered figure.
Pranam, Swamiji.
Yeah, Hari Om, Namaskar.
I join with Prasad ji to welcome you, Swamiji. And we all are very much eager to listen from you. Youth spirituality, nurturing inner growth in the next generation. Next 13 minutes, all yours, Swamiji. Pranam, Swamiji.
Yeah, Namaskar. My salutations to everybody present here. Pranam, good evening. With youngsters, my experience has been that we can't preach to them. One would fail completely. We should inspire them and never take the preaching mode. So what I have tried with youngsters is to make them do what I want, but the way in which they like doing it. Make them do what you want, but let them do it in the way in which they like doing it. This formula, if we can manage, then we connect with youth well. Suppose we call youngsters and say, I'm going to talk to you about spirituality. They are quite tired. Even of the word called religion, spirituality, they are tired. Instead, we should know what they like. So I have worked, for example, let us say, if you have to make these youngsters read a very inspiring spiritual book, You should not give them the book and ask them to read. Rather, you should make them do a project on the book. It could be a short film that they should make on a book. It should be a reels they should create on the book. And once you open up this method, then their curiosity and they learn the content. So our teaching style should be the way in which they like learning it. So I have done a couple of deep spiritual texts like Kathopanishad, but I made the youngsters do it like theater. We taught them. We said, this is Kathopanishad. It's a dialogue between Lord Yama and Nachiketa, a young seeker. And this is what the book about. In a gist, I told them. I said, now you do research on it, understand, and come up with a theater where we present people all about death. And death is a relevant topic. Youth understand that everyone born has to die sometime or other. So they get that point very clearly. And then when they do research and come up innovatively how to present Kathopanishad through theater, it worked. So we need to adopt methods which they like. If we tell them simple things like, let's go to Ganga, river Ganga is absolutely inspiring. It's a great place to be there. And they're not interested. But suppose you say, we'll go to Ganga. The route of Ganga from Ganga Sagar to Gomukh or to Gangotri on by road, on a motorcycle or a car trip, they show interest. Now, if they come from Ganga Sagar to Gangotri, the entire route, all the pilgrim centers on the banks of Ganga, you cover. And at every place, you tell them what it means. Now they are learning. The method of teaching should suit them. If we adopt a method of preaching, that I take a class and you listen, youngsters are not interested. So for them to understand, we need this approach. And youngsters, if we look at them, they are very energetic. To define youth, in fact, if you see what Taittiriya Upanishad says, it says, let the youth be virtuous, meditative, blessed, and strong. Let the youngsters be virtuous, contemplative, strong, and let them bless themselves. This is how Upanishad is declaring our youth should be. One should be well informed. Sadhu yuva. How a youth should be sadhu, he should be good. And that person should be knowledgeable, very well informed. So we need to inspire youngsters to know all about the world. My guru used to tell, be a guardian angel around the parliament. Means learn to understand what is happening around the world. Youngsters, that is one particular thing. So we should keep youngsters well informed about various things of the world. And we should teach them to be strong. That's where the youngsters like. When you tell them that committing to spiritual study or a Tirtha Yatra or a theatrical presentation of a spiritual theme, the end result will be knowledge and strength. Once these youngsters come to that idea that knowledge and they personally benefit with strength, then they become curious, because every youngster realizes that they need strength in life. Not the physical strength, the mental strength they need in life. So they get that. So we should not teach directly. You come this way, and then by the definition of what youth is, according to the Upanishad, a person should be young and he should be well informed. He should be strong. He should be enthusiastic. Should be enthusiastic. And youngsters need that. Many a times they settle down to ordinary. That's why my teacher used to tell, particularly when he talks to young people, he used to say, keep your goals so high that you never reach them. Now imagine something like that. Keep your goals that high that you don't reach them at all. Meaning, reaching the goal is where you learn, not when you reach the goal. The process is where one comes. So when we give them challenging goals, they aspire for it. So my experience with youngsters have been making them do what you want, the way in which they like doing it. If you can get this formula straight, then with youngsters it works. You can teach them through play, you can teach them through making movies, you can teach them through pilgrims, you can teach them through car rallies, through motorcycle, any adventure sport. You can teach spirituality to them. And that way, the youngsters can pick it up, and we can create strong youngsters. The Upanishad says a youngster should have Atma Bala. He must have that strength. Today, how strong are our youngsters? Physically, probably they are strong. They can go, because the technology and the gym and various things which has come can make them very, very, very strong physically. But mentally, how strong are they? Bala, Buddhi, how strong are they there? So that area we need to guide youngsters. And if they get that strength, then they will be able to think deep, think big. A weak mind cannot think big. So once we give them the spiritual knowledge which gives you strength, Arjuna was confused. Gita was given. He became strong. Every spiritual text that way, and the early stage gives us a lot of strength and energy. Once we have that strength, our opinion about ourselves change. Now we can aspire for higher things, bigger things, nobler things. It's here that Gurudev said, keep your goal so high that you don't reach it. You aspire and you work for it. In the process of working, you keep expanding. So the difficult goals we can give them the moment they gain strength. So our approach should be not preaching, inspire them various. In fact, Krishna says that Joshayet Sarva Karmani, go the way in which they like going. But slowly, you can inspire them. If we bring in various rules, do's, don'ts, straight, youngsters don't work. So whether it is a trip to Ganga or if it is a trip to Chardham Yatra, you go and call an youngster, let's go to Chardham Yatra. Why Chardham Yatra? No, I'm not interested. Suppose you say, let's do it as a motorcycle expedition to the 4 Dhams in the Himalayas. Now you see youngsters coming. Let's make it a road trip or a hike to these places. Then they come. So we need to adopt their style. And the content, what we teach is ours. But the style which they learn should be their choice. If you can get this formula in place, it works well with youngsters. Then we can have that kind of a youngster who is strong and who is able to think deep, who is well informed. That young people of that kind, who's got bala and buddhi, will become leaders for tomorrow. Otherwise, you have people who are there without any vision, moving ahead in life, doesn't serve much. So inspire young people with wisdom and strength. And once they have that, they aspire a lot. My guru used to say, it's a very often said statement. Most of you would have heard it too. Youth in my country are not useless. They are used less. They are not careless. They are cared less. If we show that kind of a care to them and show them that they can do much more than what they think, the youngsters can be molded very well. In fact, the motto what Swami Chinmayananji has given for the youth is harnessing youth potential through dynamic spirituality. Today, unfortunately, many youngsters think spirituality is not dynamic. Spirituality is passive because the fault lies on us. We have made it look very negative. We have made it look like renounce the world. You want spirituality, drop everything in the world, go to the mountains, caves, or at least to the youngsters we teach, drop desire, drop desire. Young mind wanted to live life and we go tell them drop vasana. It doesn't work. In fact, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, the 4 lines which are there, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. It's not against desire. You should know to handle desire well. So if this way we can teach youngsters, they'll get it. Then they are not useless. we have used them less. And that way, the youth potential, when it is harnessed, wonderful results can come. So 3-4 points. Make them learn the way in which they like learning it, but what you want. Don't ever preach to an youngster, they won't get it. Let them learn through projects, through travel, and make them understand spirituality is not life negative. It is not passive. It's a very dynamic way of life. In fact, the Bhagavad Gita was not a discussion between Vasishta and Vishwamitra. Angirasa Bharadwaja. It's not a discourse between dialogue between Shankara and Madhvacharya. It's not a dialogue between Buddha and Mahavira. It's a dialogue between Grahasthas, two householders with huge political responsibility who have to lead a nation. These two people are talking, Krishna and Arjuna. It's householders' discussion. But today we don't see Gita as a book for young people, Gita as a book for householders. We think Gita as a book for sannyasis. That misnomer should go. So there are many ways to teach youngsters. Even the Gita can be taught in so many ways, other than the discourse, through activity. We do a program in Chennai called Kurukshetra, where people come out and perform cultural programs. On each year we do, it's a cultural program we do, we call it Kurukshetra. Each year one chapter we give. This year they did chapter 5. Based on chapter 5, there were elocution competitions, there were skits, there were fashion show based on chapter 5. So there is a different way of teaching. If we can get that method, then youngsters will learn. Those youngsters would be dynamic. Like the Upanishad says, they will be well equipped to face life. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Swamiji. I think whatever you shared is very experiential. Prasadji, over to you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it struck several chords in me. I'm a parent, I'm a teacher by profession. So everything you said rings true for me personally. And I hope for everyone who's watching this. Pujya Swamiji, thank you so much for blessing this event with your presence. A few nuggets that you shared. I mean, there's infinite wisdom in everything you said, and it was truly inspirational. It reminds me of an old saying: when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So this is the approach that most good teachers use to teach their children. Build a rapport with the students and earn their trust. Then they listen to you. You cannot dictate to the student what you should do, or to your children. That's the essence of what you just said. There's so much to take away from it. I'm limited by the time. I have 20 seconds to summarize. It's next to impossible to do it. But thank you so much for this incredible, inspiring speech.
Thank you very much, Swamiji. Pranam.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Swami Mitrananda for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness and sharing his views. I feel truly privileged to introduce Shri Gaurang Das Ji Prabhu. He is a graduate from IIT Bombay, also a leadership and mindfulness coach, a member of ISKCON's governing body commission. He is actively involved in enhancing leadership effectiveness and governance of temples and communities globally. Gaurang Das Ji is the director of ISKCON's Govardhan Eco Village. He is advisor for sustainable development of the Ekta Dham project by the Honorable CM of Madhya Pradesh, Shri Shivraj Singh Chauhan. He was on the board of founders of Rishihood University is India's first and only impact university. He is on the board of high-profile advisory committee of the Central Sanskrit University, the largest multi-campus global Sanskrit university having 12 campuses across India. He is the administrative director of Bhakti Vedanta Research Center at the Inspirational Speaker and author of 3 books: The Art of Resilience, The Art of Focus, and The Art of Habit. methods. He is a visiting faculty at IIM Nagpur for PGDM students and takes credit courses of life management skills. He received honorary doctorate from the Kaziranga University of Assam for all his valuable contributions. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Shri Gorang Das Ji Prabhu.
Most welcome, Gorang Das ji. So happy to see you. Thank you for joining us. I think you are in US right time.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you, Vikrantji, and thank you, Mr. Prasad, for
And
welcoming me.
Yeah,
all
nice
our
to-
ears to you, and we are eager to listen you on spiritual conflict resolution, finding peace through compassionate communication. All our ears to you for the next 14 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Om Agyanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So the Bhagavad Gita is spoken on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and battlefield symbolizes conflict. Arjuna is a warrior, Krishna is his chariot driver, and when Arjuna comes on the battlefield, he has a track record of winning every battle in life. Arjuna has successfully conquered over all kinds of opponents. He has control over all kinds of weapons. But when he comes on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna experiences something very unique. For the first time, Arjuna experiences doubt. Arjuna experiences conflict in his thinking, confusion in his decision making, in his choices. Arjuna's one name is Gudakesh. Gudakesh means one who has conquered sleep. When Arjuna was a young student, Dronacharya had given an instruction: never feed Arjuna in the dark. But one day, Dronacharya was not there, and Arjuna was eating in the evening. There was a kind of a lamp nearby, and suddenly the wind blew and the lamp blew out, and Arjuna continued eating. And Arjuna started thinking, I am able to eat in the dark. If I am able to eat in the dark and my hand is able to find its way and mark to the mouth in the dark, why can't I practice in the dark? And that day Arjuna decided, I will start practicing even at night. So Arjuna thus started practicing day and night. And therefore, Arjuna is known as Gudakesha. That means one who has so much of diligence, determination, dedication, that one cannot imagine in today's context what kind of dedicated energy Arjuna was carrying. Arjuna had such focus that Arjuna could look at the reflection of the fish in the water and still pierce the eye. So Arjuna had determination, Arjuna had focus, Arjuna had dedication, and Arjuna had the best track record of winning all battles. But when he comes in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna is telling Krishna, Senayor Ubayor Madhye Ratham Sthapayame Achyuta Yavadeta Niriksheham Yodhu Kaman Avasthitan. Senayor Ubayor Madhye, my dear Krishna, bring my chariot between the two armies. Ratham Sthapaya, place my rath. Achyuta, oh dear Achyuta. I want to see Yavadeta Niriksheham, I want to see with my eyes. Yodhu Kaman, who have come to fight and come in a conflict. So this is the beginning of understanding conflict. We are always extremely observant. We are extremely careful and constantly scouting outside to see who is in conflict with me. And if I see somebody in conflict with me, immediately my defense systems and mechanisms come out and we want to stop and defend. So the Mahabharata says, Ahar Nidra Bhaya Maitunam cha Samana etat Pashubhir Naranam. धर्मो हि तेषाम् अधिको विशेषो धर्मेण हीन पशुभिः समानः. There are four characteristics common to all human beings and animals: ahar, eating; nidra, sleeping; maithun, which is mating; and bhay, which is fearing or defending. Out of these four, ahar, eating, can be done for limited time in a day. Maithun can be done for a limited time. Nidra can be done for a limited time. But the only one principle out of the four which accompanies us 24 by 7 is bhaya, or fear, anxiety, stress, various kinds of insecurities about the future. And all of these arise out of the feeling that I am under attack. I am in conflict with my surroundings. I'm in conflict with outside. And that conflict is going to take away and snatch away my body. It is going to take away my husband or wife. That conflict is going to take away my children and their security. That conflict is going to take away my property, my house. That conflict is going to take away my vehicle. That conflict is going to take away my wealth. That conflict is going to take away my position, social acceptance, and people will rubbish me, disrespect me, and I will lose status. And that conflict will take away my career and influence, and someone else will become more influential than me. So, all of these are potential conflicts we are always afraid of. Atmajaya sutagara pashudravina bandushu rajye cha vitale nityam virudham mamatam jaho. So, these are the conflicts we are preparing ourselves for. Battles to fight against and conquer over and establish our identity as that of a stability with respect to body, to keep the body healthy, to husband and wife protected and secure, to keep the children educated, nourished, to keep the house secure and pay the property taxes, to maintain the vehicle, to increase our income, to invest right, to maintain relationships with people in society so that we are respected and accepted, and to make sure that we make the right choices so that our career trajectory grows. So each one of us in life is constantly fighting these 8 conflicts. And as we are fighting these 8 conflicts, sometimes we win, sometimes we lose, but this battle absorbs us constantly. Now, the interesting thing about Bhagavad Gita is Arjuna had practically all these 8 under his control. Yes, of course. Now and then he also had to go through difficulty like having lost his palace, his home, and being in Vanvas, losing reputation when they could not defend Draupadi. So nobody is immune to being defeated in these conflicts. But now, when Arjuna is facing Krishna, and Krishna is telling Arjuna that you want to see who's in front of you in this battle, see Bhishma, see Drona. So far Arjuna's identity was, I am a Kshatriya. My nature is that of a Kshatriya. My occupation is that of a Kshatriya. So Arjuna's Swabhava was that of a fighter. Arjuna's Swadharma was that of a fighter. So many times in today's corporate situation, people find it difficult to find alignment between their Swabhava and Swadharma. That is also a big conflict majority of the workforce is going through, that I have certain job, in marketing or finance, but that may be my occupation, but my nature is that of a scholar. So a person finds himself out of place. So there is a huge amount of productivity loss globally because of misalignment between Swabhava and Swadharma, between nature and occupation. So that's a big conflict people are fighting. But Arjuna had sorted that conflict also. His nature, Swabhava, was to fight, and his occupation, Swadharma, was to fight. Kshatriya means one who becomes absorbed in conflict. Brahmana means one who becomes absorbed in acquisition of knowledge. Vaishya means one who becomes absorbed in acquiring wealth. So Arjuna was a perfect Kshatriya. So he had no issues with fighting. He had won every battle in the past. In fact, when he tells Krishna, I want to become beggar and all in future, Krishna tells him, you are a Kshatriya, you have to fight. Even if you go to beg, if somebody insults you, you will hit the Kamandalu on their head and kill him. So better you kill on the battlefield than on in any other informal, place which is not bona fide. So therefore, Arjuna now is faced with this situation where Krishna brings him right in front of two personalities, Bhishma and Drona. So when Arjuna sees Bhishma, he looks at his grandfather. When he sees Drona, he sees his teacher. Now the real conflict begins. Arjuna is thinking, should I kill my grandfather or should I love my grandfather? Should I respect my teacher or should I kill my teacher? Then he looks at Duryodhana and he says, oh, he's my enemy. I should kill Duryodhana. But then he's conflicted between these three. Should I kill Duryodhana? Should I love Bhishma? Should I respect Drona? Should I kill my enemy? Should I love my grandfather? Should I respect my teacher? So, what Arjuna is going through is a classic conflict of identities. So, the greatest conflict which anybody can experience is conflict in identities. See, here is a fighter who, when attacked, would fight back. So, many of us have fighting spirit. When we are attacked from outside, we get the energy to fight back. But what happens if the fight happens within and the battle between identities is such that some of our identities collapse? And that's what happened. That conflict between Arjuna's identity as a enemy, as an enemy of Duryodhan, as a grandson of Bhishma, and as a student of Drona, these three identities conflicted. And Arjuna was bewildered what to do. And so he tells Krishna, Ve patuscha sharire me romaharshascha jayate Gandiva saramshate hastat tvakchaiva paridahyate. My limbs are trembling, my mouth is drying up, my hairs are standing on end. I'm experiencing the symptoms of depression because depression means not knowing the reason why I should perform this activity. Depression means you have the skill with you, but you lose the will. So Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, because of conflict between his multiple identities, lost the will to fight. And Arjuna did not even have any social media accounts to confuse his identities further. So today, as we live in a volatile world, as we live in an extremely uncertain world, all of us have to realize that spiritual consciousness is so crucial and so critical, because when Krishna realized that Arjuna's Swabhava and Swadharma is not helping him overcome his internal conflict, Krishna had to introduce another level of identity to Arjuna, which was his Swarupa. And he says, Dehinosman yata dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra namuhyati. The soul moves from birth, gradually grows, and as the body becomes old, dies, the soul goes into another body. The soul doesn't change. And so the chapter 2, Krishna begins 11th verse to 30th verse. Krishna speaks about the nature of the soul in great detail. And when we realize that I am not this body, I am the soul, we are being revealed another level of consciousness, Swarupa. that is my eternal identity. The Jiva is Sanatan, Paramatma Ishwar is Sanatan. The connection of seva between Jiva and Paramatma is Sanatan. That duty of the soul towards the Sanatan Supreme Soul is known as Sanatan Dharma. And therefore, I congratulate the United Consciousness for organizing this spiritual convention where we are able to help people go beyond their multiple conflicts in their identities and situate themselves by taking shelter of early morning prayer every single day, where the Sanatan Jiva connects with the Sanatan Ishwar through Sanatan Seva, and that Sanatan Dharma will be the anchoring feature for each one of us to overcome all kinds of conflicts experienced at the level of Swabhava and Swadharma by realizing our true Swarupa, Jivere Swarupoir Krishnera Nitya Das. Thank you very much, Vikranji, for inviting me.
So kind of you, Gaurang Das ji. We always feel honored and inspired listening to you. You rightly invoked the qualities of Arjuna as we have, but in spite of all those skills, people may lose will. As you rightly mentioned, every superhero has a low, and during that low, the superhero needs a mentor, a guide like Krishna who can make him realize his swadharma, as you rightly concluded that Jiva, Ishvara, and Seva, these three all are Sanatan. The connect between Jiva and Ishvara is Sanatan, and following on this path, walking on this path is Sanatan Dharma. So beautifully, you did absolute justice with the topic. So much happy and inspired. Gaurang Das ji, thank you for blessing us with your presence.
Thank you, Vikranji.
Thank you. Thank you.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Prabhuji Gaurang Das Ji for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness and sharing his views.
We are honored to introduce Ms. Ujjwala Kothavare, a dedicated advocate for the ancient science of yoga and a passionate promoter of harmony and happiness through this revered practices. Her career objective is to serve society by enhancing well-being and spiritual growth through yoga. Her academic journey reflects a deep commitment to yoga and holistic health. She is currently pursuing a PhD from MMYBV building on a solid educational foundation that includes an MSc and BSc from S. Vyasa Bangalore and several specialized certification in yoga and related disciplines. Her academic pursuits are complemented by practical experience and extensive training in diverse yoga methodologies. Her professional experience is equally impressive, spanning roles as a yoga examiner for the Ministry of Ayush and teaching positions at renowned institutions such as Vivekananda Schools, Nai Disha School, Yog Mandiram Trust and DPS Arkipuram. Her commitment extends beyond tradition setting, with workshops conducted for inmates at the Tihar Jail, summer workshops at Delhi University Women's Association and various committee engagements. Her dedication to yoga is further evident by her special interest course including training in Reiki, Patanjali Yogapeeth Teachers Training under Swami Ramadev Ji, and Art of Living Foundation training under Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji. Her interest in traveling and reading alongside her goal of self-discovery reflects her holistic approach to personal and professional growth. Her diverse skill, profound knowledge, and unwavering commitment make her a remarkable advocate for yoga and beacon of well-being in her community. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Ms. Ujjwala Kothavare.
Yes.
Welcome, Ujjwala ji. Next 30 minutes are yours. I join Prasad ji to welcome you.
Oh, thank you, sir, giving me this opportunity. We will begin to find the divinity within us with the sweet and short name of the divine, that is Omkara chanting. Gently close our eyes Take a long deep breath in with a beautiful smile on your face. And slowly and gently breathe out with the forgiveness. Inhale love and exhale forgiveness. Now inhale for the Omkara. Om. Feel the divine power within yourself. This is the actual goal of the yoga. Now we will begin with the warrior pose. We will stand up at our own place as we had listened the Bhagavad Gita. So be like a Arjuna, like a warrior pose. We will do. Come front. Take your right leg forward. Bend it 90 degrees. And both the hands sideways. Palms facing upward. Take them up. Just pull your hands muscles up. Ashwini Mudra, Mulban. And be there, just like a warrior. Slowly and gently come back and relax. With another leg, we have to perform a self-complementary. Left leg forward, bending it down up to 90 degrees, parallel to the ground, palms facing toward the ceiling. Fold the hands in Namaskar Mudra. Hold your Mula Bandha. Be there. Normal breathing, breathe out. Slowly and gently coming back and relax with a beautiful smile. Being a warrior, now we will relax also. Just make a gap between your both the legs. And while standing, we can do a relaxation in a Utkatasana or simple language, we can say it as chair pose. Just sit down, strengthen your thigh muscles also, along with have a beautiful smile on your face. Yes. All of you will enjoy these things. Just slowly coming back and relax. After sitting and relaxation, we will stretch our body completely. Remove the letharginess while sitting. Just completely. Now, joining both the legs together, palms. Your feet are roundly firm on your ground. Now, tighten your calf muscle. Tighten your knee cap, lock your kneecap, tighten your thighs, hips, interlace. Keep your thumb on your hip bone, fingers pointing backward. Now anterior tilt, stretch your spine upward. Now interlace your fingers, straight them up. The whole body upward. But focus on the balance. Strengthen your every muscles. Remove the stiffness in your body, letharginess, and full of energy and enthusiasm. Slowly coming back down and relax. It means asana practice. doesn't need lot of stress. In very small space also, we can practice it and energize our body and obtain the goal of Prayatna Shaitilya Ananta Samapati. Mind power. Now make a gap between your legs. Interlace your fingers on your chest. This is Tadasana we are going to perform. Inhale, stretch your both the hands upward. Now bend towards your left side, side bending for the spine. Come back to the center and right side bending of the spine. Slowly coming back to the center and relax. Yes, while performing asana, we have to take care that we have to complete all the spinal movements. We have done axial movement through our Tadasana, Didya Tadasana, side bending. Now we will do forward bending. Just Ulva Hasta Padottanasana. Stretch your arms upward with the inhalation. With the exhalation, come to the 90 degree parallel to the ground. Then further exhalation, coming to the ground. Touch your big toe. Try to touch your feet to the knee. Inhale, slowly come back to the 90 degree, then upward straight and sideways. Relax yourself. While performing any asana, we have to do is counter pose 2. Be careful. Now, we have done forward bend. We will do the backward bend too. For that, we will interlace our fingers at back. Inhale and we go back. Hold this. Stiram Sukham Asanam. Steadily come back. And remove the duality in your mind. And come on and relax. Have a smile. Yes. Now, we have done these poses. We must do some simple movement exercises for our all body parts. Now, we will sit down and just join both the big toes inside and remove. Fast movement to our palms to energize our limbs, to make them active. Yes, fast movement. Then flapping movement. Yes, heels coming towards our body, coming back. Now, tapping of the toes. Bhadrasana position. Keep your body straight, erect. Beautiful smile. Open your chest. Now, slowly come forward. Keep your arms sideways. Forward bend. Once more. Yes, like a flower. Butterfly, you can choose that honey from this flower. Nectar. And come out with a beautiful smile. After receiving that nectar, slowly take your arms back and relax. It's not necessary that we have to perform very difficult poses. Just like this simple, we can do. And as nowadays, only a ceiling also survive. Now, we do very simple forward, bring your leg and forward, take up, and slowly and gently bring it. Again, right hand, up, and slowly and gently come back. Yes, be the peace world. Take this flower, make like flower shape, and it's a Taj. Peace world Taj, a bow from your head.
Ujjwala ji, I think your connection, you have lost the connection. We can't see you. Okay, nevertheless, Ujjwala ji, I think the connection is poor at your end.
Shanti, Shanti. Feel the peace within yourself. Feel the peace in the surrounding atmosphere and in the whole universe. Love yourself. Hug yourself. Because everybody missing this only. And appreciate yourself. Thanks, Lord, for
Thank you
giving
very
me
much,
this
Ujjwala
opportunity.
ji. It was very profound. Thank you very much.
Yes. The world missing only this loving and appreciating.
Thank you. Pranam.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Ms. Ujjwala Kothawade for coming on to the platform of United Consciousness. Thank you so much.
Most welcome, Vivek ji. We are so inspired to see you here.
Good morning and namaste, everyone. My name is Aditya Mahadevan, and I'm one of the coordinators of United Consciousness Global Youth. I'm based in New York City today, and I've been affiliated with United Consciousness for over a year now. And today we're about to have an exciting and insightful discussion on the topic stressful to peaceful. We have a lot of amazing, accomplished young speakers and panelists from many countries around the world to dive into this topic of how we can reduce stress and cultivate peace in our lives. So our 65 minutes together will be broken up into 3 sections. The first 15 minutes will be a discourse by Acharya Vivek Gupta from Niagara Falls in Canada, who will speak about the mission, activities, impact of United Consciousness, especially the youth programming. The second 20 minutes will be a dynamics where 4 young speakers will facilitate an interactive presentation on the topic of stress management. And the final 25 minutes will be a panel discussion where we'll have leading scientific thinkers and spiritual practitioners who will share best practices on stress management. So let me now take a moment to introduce our first speaker. Vivek ji was born and raised in Niagara Falls in Canada. He's lived and trained as a residential monk under Swami Tejo Mayananda of Chinmaya Mission in Mumbai. He's also a trained Hindu chaplain and conducts daily, weekly courses, conducts international retreats, and works to make philosophy relevant and reachable to people across cultures. And Vivek ji is also a board member of United Consciousness. So please join me in welcoming Vivek ji.
Hari Om and greetings from Toronto. Happy to see you, Vikranchi. Happy to see you, Aditya. I'm going to begin with a story. Once, a king woke up with great eye pain. And so the royal physician came and checked his eye and prescribed this exercise, this medicine. And the next day, the pain only increased. So then word was sent out to all physicians, all healthcare providers, to share solutions to relieve the pain of their king. And many came and said, you shouldn't eat this, you should watch this, and so on. the pain only increased. So word was sent across the kingdom for anyone who has any idea on how to help their leader. One simple villager from a far part of the kingdom shared with the king's ministers, the problem with our king is that he sees too many colors. And if he just saw the color green, then his pain would go away. And this sounded wild, but they're ready to try anything. So they painted the walls green, they used cloth over the tables and the chairs. The next day, the king's pain went away. And he was so happy, so relieved, he wanted to offer his thanks to whoever provided the solution. So they sent for this villager from a far part of the kingdom. And as this villager is coming into the assembly area of the king, the guards stop him and they throw green paint at him. And this villager is annoyed by this and says, "What are you doing?" And those bodyguards had shared, "You're the one who shared that our king sees too many colors, so we're coloring you green." And that villager said, "I see the paint, I see the cloth, but all you needed to do was give the king green glasses. Then everything he would see would be green." I shared this story with you, and now I'm trying to connect this to stress. Imagine these green glasses are stress. If I'm wearing these, then everything I experience feels stressful. My master, Puja Swami Tejramayananda, has shared, people try to live by the philosophy of eat, drink, and be merry, but you have to be merry before you can eat and enjoy, drink and enjoy. And so I offer my appreciation to all of you who are joining through StreamYard, those who are joining through Facebook and YouTube. United Consciousness is a great organization working hard and smart to invoke and evoke consciousness for all, especially this week, which is the International Week of Peace. When you listen to the news, there seems like there's such a missing of peace around the world, outside and inside. This portion of the International Week of Peace has been organized, is being facilitated by our United Consciousness Global Youth Team. As a board member, my responsibility is to work with those who are young and to develop consciousness programs for those who are young. You'll get to meet all of our team. They're going to be sharing with everyone as all of us try to bring us from stressful to peaceful. Let us start with stress. I am asking all of you what stress is. Everyone who's joining through StreamYard, Facebook, YouTube, how would you answer the question, what is stress? Typically, the response that is shared with me, I facilitate many stress management workshops in corporations, and people will share with me, stress is when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when you're confused. That is not what stress is. Those are symptoms of stress at the physical level, tiredness. At the mental level, frustration. At the intellectual level, confusion. The symptom, the source, those are not the same. We have to be more authentic and deep in our understanding of stress. What is stress? Stress is a thought. Stress is just a thought. If you have a fear thought right now, you feel afraid. If you don't have that fear thought, you don't feel afraid. Extending this more, making this even more universal, today every one of us will go to sleep. When we are asleep, we have no thoughts. When we are asleep, there is no stress. That's why we're sleeping. Stress is just a thought. So we've zoomed into the what, but now we're going to zoom into the why. Why do I have this stress thought? Why am I full of stress? Checking in with all of you again, everyone who's joining from any platform, what are the 3 dominant triggers of the stress thought? What stresses you out the most? Think. In my reflections, from my scriptural study, from my experiential study, the 3 dominant triggers from 3 to 1, number 3 is time. When we are running out of time, this stress thought starts to grow in quantity and quality. It becomes more deep, more harsh. Think of being late to go to the airport. How that feels is awful. Number 2 is money. If you have a lot of student debt, if you have mortgage payments to make, and you still have to use resources for functionality, that imbalance causes one to have this stress thought. There's not an alignment of how much I have and how much I want. The supply and demand are mismatched. But the most dominant trigger of the stress thought is people. As we slowly complete International Week of Peace, as we slowly complete this month, if I ask you to review this week and this month on when you felt the most stressed, I feel it would have been because of a person, and most likely a family member, with expectations not being met, disappointment being felt. It is people. From stressful to peaceful, what is stress? What it feels like is being tired, frustrated, and confused. What is it? It is a thought. Fear thoughts cause fear. Hunger thoughts cause hunger. Stress thoughts cause stress. So what causes this thought? The imbalance between time, money, and people. Fine, we already feel this, whether we can vocalize it or not. What we need is the how to grow out of this. How do I go to peaceful? Another way to think of being overwhelmed by stress is to be resilient to stress, resilient to imbalance. Sociologists have studied that there are 3 ways to cultivate resilience. Resilience means where there is an imbalance in my supply and demand of time, money, and people, I can resist that more, not be affected by it so much. Here is the first way to cultivate resilience. I'm sharing from easiest to most difficult. The easiest is exercise. When we exercise, then we are in a space and time that makes us feel more natural. Our heart rate is up, our muscles are moving. And if our exercise is in nature, it helps us to feel even more natural. Our hormones change then, the serotonin, the endorphin, and so on. Number 2 is examples. For me to be more resilient, if I have examples of my parents or teachers, athletes, philanthropists, examples of those who have executed resilience, I feel I can do it more. Earlier on, I was supposed to speak on overcoming social isolation through spiritual connection and community. Those who feel part of a community, they are more resilient. They feel that they're bigger than just their name, their form, and so on. And the final way to cultivate resilience, this is the most difficult, but the most lasting, it is ethics, a value system. This helps one to live by purpose. My master, Puja Swami Tejomayananda, shared, purpose pulls performance. When my value system is to be determined, disciplined, generous, cheerful, and so on, even when time, money, people are pushing against me, I push back. I rise above this. This purpose brings out the best in us. So if I can practice exercise, examples, and ethics, I have less stress thoughts. I feel more quiet. And experiencing this quietude, it's a taste. It is a trajectory to start to be peaceful. Again, I offer my appreciation to United Consciousness, to all who have shared this week, specifically our United Consciousness Global Youth Team, whom you're going to get to learn from very soon. Best wishes to all. Team.
Thank you, Vivekji, for that insightful discourse. It is now time to move on to the next section of our program together. For our dynamics, we will have 4 fantastic young adults from Canada, the USA, and India. Our 4 presenters, whom you can see on the screen, are Daksha Nair, who's an undergraduate student at Rutgers University in New Jersey, who's studying psychology and criminal justice. Secondly, Shafali Panikar, who is a graduate student at the University of Guelph in Canada, studying public health. Third is Shivam Mulchandani, who has a master's in finance from the London School of Economics and currently works in the education sector in Indore in India. And lastly, Samya Dev, who is a 9th grade student in Albany, New York, and she's also a competitive swimmer. So I'll now share my screen, and I will also ask Daksha to kick things off for us.
Thank you so much, Aditya.
Can you all see my screen? Fantastic. Thank you.
So today we're going to be discussing how to go from stressful to peaceful. This is something that we all experience, and it's something really important to discuss and learn from. So stress can simply be defined as a set of physical, cognitive, and emotional reactions that occur due to demands from an individual's environment. So this is actually due to our limbic system, which fears that we're in danger when we're not. So this is a big problem for individuals, especially under 18, where 62% of them say that they feel like their stress levels are not understood. So with this, it's really important to discuss solutions for this that might benefit different people based on their values and interests. So from here, I'll pass it on to Shafali to discuss short-term solutions.
Thank you, Daksha. So first we'll talk about short-term solutions to coping with stress. And these are solutions that you can use that will relieve your stress, hopefully in less than an hour and maybe even in a few minutes. So today we'll be focusing on breathing. Breathing is something that we all do every day, but when done mindfully, it can become a powerful tool for managing stress. It can reduce anxiety, improve our focus, lower heart rate, support better sleep, and balance our emotions better. And when done regularly, deep breathing can actually also increase our resilience. So it enhances our ability to cope with stress. Next. So today we're actually going to do an activity together. We're going to do something called box breathing. And for this, you will need to get your right hand. I ask all of you to participate along. It'll only take a few minutes. And we're going to form the Vishnu Mudra with our hand. So you're going to take your index finger and your middle finger and point it towards your palm. So your ring finger and pinky should be up, and so is your thumb. Then with your right thumb, you're going to close your right nostril, and you're going to breathe in from your left side, pinch both sides and hold for 4 seconds. Release your right thumb and exhale from the right side, and then pinch again and hold for another 4 seconds. So this method is called box breathing because we inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and then hold again for another 4 seconds. So we're going to try this activity together. Please do follow along, and hopefully you can feel some of that stress being relieved. Next slide. So to do this activity, wherever you're sitting, make sure your back is straight and your chin is parallel to the ground. Again, let's form the Vishnu Mudra with our right hand, index and middle finger to the palm, and right thumb on your right nostril. And when you're ready, gently close your eyes. We're going to close our right nostril and inhale from the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold. Pinch both nostrils. 3, 4. Release your right thumb and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Left side, inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, right. 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, left. 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, right. 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll continue a few more rounds, but I won't count, so count in your own mind. Inhale, left, and hold. Exhale, right, and hold. Inhale, left, and hold. Exhale, right, and hold. Inhale, left, and hold. Exhale, right, and hold. We'll do this one more time. Inhale deeply, left side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, right. 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold. Slowly release your hand and gently open your eyes. So hopefully you're feeling a little bit more relaxed and calm. Next, I'll pass it on to Shivam, who will talk about short-term solutions for coping with stress.
Thank you, Shefali. So these medium-term solutions take less than a month to develop and to see the results. Physical exercise is a powerful stress reliever, no matter your fitness level. When you exercise, your body releases endorphins, which is your natural feel-good hormones that help you reduce anxiety and boost your mood. Plus, exercise refocuses your mind and body's movements, helping you improve your mood. So go on a jog, take a walk, or walk in your garden, or even clean your house, or anything else that you can do to stay active. Journaling. Journaling offers a simple yet a very effective way to process stress by providing a free space to release your pent up emotions. Writing your thoughts down can help you organize them and gain clarity, which can be a significant relief for stress. Additionally, journaling helps you identify those recurring patterns of stresses, and offering insight on how to potentially address them. The key here is to write freely and regularly without worrying about how it looks like. So just let your thoughts flow. Moving on to dance therapy. Now that you have processed your emotions with journaling, let it express through dance therapy, which is more than just movement. It's a way to express your emotions that might be too hard to simply put into words. This emotional release is especially beneficial for reducing stress, as research shows that regular dance therapy can significantly lower your cortisol levels by up to 54%, the hormone which is associated with stress. By connecting your mind and the body through movement, dance therapy promotes overall mental well being and is a very joyful way to manage stress. Moreover, you can easily incorporate this in your life through live classes or even online sessions. Time management techniques. Effective time management is essential for reducing stress. Properly managing your time can reduce your stress levels by up to 25%, making you feel more organized and less rushed. Techniques here like Pomodoro, which is working in short bursts of time in very focused intervals, can help you maintain your concentration and prevent burnout. The Eisenhower matrix, which helps you prioritize tasks by urgency and importance, ensure that you focus on what really matters most. Finally, time boxing, which allows you to allocate fixed periods of tasks and enhancing your focus and reduces procrastination. Now that we have discussed some very powerful strategies from physical exercise to time management, but in order to make these strategies truly work for you, it's important to first understand how you're currently spending your time. And this brings us to a simple but a very powerful tool, the minute to mind management. And for that, I'd like a volunteer to help me with this quick time demonstration. If you're willing, just let me
Yeah,
know. And
I can do it.
oh, amazing. Thank you, Aditya. So let's dive in. Every week, we all have about 168 hours. That is 7 times 24. But without realizing how we spend our time, it's very easy to feel off balance and even stressed. So this time audit will help you see how your hours are being used, and more importantly, how you can optimize them to align with your goals. So let's start by breaking your week down. Aditya, approximately how many hours a week do you sleep?
Probably 6 hours a day, so or 6.5 hours a day, so maybe around 45 hours a week.
I see. What about your work? Are you still a student or are you working right now?
I'm working. So in the ideal
I
case
see.
scenario, I would probably like to work around 40 hours a week.
Okay, let's say 40 hours. What about education? Are you pursuing something like an online course?
Not really. So at most, probably around 5 hours max.
5 hours a week, I presume, right?
Yes, exactly.
Perfect. What about some time for your family?
Yeah, I probably spend around an hour or two a day spending
Hmm.
time, maybe 1 hour a day. So let's say about 7 hours a week.
Okay. How about physical well-being? Do you exercise? Do you find that time?
I try to. So I would say maybe uh, 30 minutes a day. So maybe you
Hmm.
could say 4 hours a week.
Okay. What about mental well-being? Do you meditate or anything else?
Yeah, similar to exercise, I would say about 30 minutes a day. So let's say another
Mhm.
4 hours a week again.
Okay. How about traveling? Do you usually commute to work or are you working in a remote setting?
Yeah, I have to commute. So that can be about 10 hours a week.
Oh, that's quite so much.
Mhm.
What about leisure? How much time do you spend a day just to keep and cool off?
Yeah, maybe an hour a day. So
Mhm.
that's 7 days a week, 7 hours a week.
Okay. And how about time that you keep off for dining, going out, and some of the other activities like freshening up, which is very difficult to account for?
Yeah, maybe 1 to 2 hours a day. So let's say, um, let's
15
see,
hours?
yeah, 14 hours maybe. Let's say that.
Okay. So great. Now that you've identified some areas to adjust, the key is to make some small and deliberate changes. And the overall takeaway is the awareness of 25 hours that you have gained of your time. That is very crucial. By regularly conducting this 168 hours a week audit, you gain control of your time than simply letting it pass by. And I'll move on to medium long-term solution with Daksha and Samya.
Thank you so much, Shivam. So now we're going to discuss long-term solutions, which implemented consistently will take more than a month to show its effects. Next slide, please. So a routine is basically a system that an individual follows on a consistent basis. And in order to set one, you have to first identify what you want to include in your routine, make a schedule with various time slots with everything you want to do written down, and then pick times and assign different time periods for every activity you want to do. Implementing this in your daily life can avoid the stress of figuring out when to do things, not having enough time. Those problems will all be solved if you implement a proper routine in your day-to-day life.
Goals also help manage stress, a goal being a task that an individual works to achieve. We can set them using the SMART acronym: S for specific, M for measurable, A for achievable, R for relevant, and T for time-bound. Goals are important because while routines help us manage our responsibilities, goals help us work on the person that we want to be and climb the next mountain. If some short-term goals or medium-term solutions are practiced daily, they can also give long-term benefits.
So social coping, which is when people know they could really rely on others in their lives to help them manage their stress, is one of the most effective forms of stress relief. Just knowing you have someone there for you to discuss your problems with or go to for advice is a big stress reliever in itself. And I encourage to everyone to find at least one or two people that can fit this role for them in their lives.
Having gratitude is also really important. That means you're appreciating different parts of life. Many people go on gratitude walks or have a gratitude journal. Having gratitude really matters because if you're in a tough situation, reminding yourself of all the people that love you, that are there to support you, all the resources that you have, how lucky you are can really make a difference. Dream boards are also really awesome. It's one place that has everything you love, everything you want to become, and everything you already have achieved on it. So one look at it when you're in a rough situation or just having a bad day in general can make you feel better.
Thank you so much, Sami, for explaining that so well. So based off of what she said, we're going to start an activity where we're going to identify the various things that we're grateful for. So this is a Mentimeter, and in this, it'll create a little word cloud of different things that we're all grateful for. And by doing so, we will be able to see the different parts of life that we often take for granted, but now we can properly give thanks to. And everyone is thankful for different things, so we will also be able to see the variety. So if you could all scan the QR code or join menti.com and use the code presented. So far we have pets, family, and health. Those are really important. I'm very grateful for all of these things too. I feel like these are things we all take for granted a lot. So it's important to be sure that we remain thankful for this. Elephants is a good one, especially since they're becoming endangered now. A lot of people really underestimate the impact they have on the ecosystem from where they live in. And it's really important to appreciate that, even if we don't see them every day. Education is very important as well, I feel like, because without proper education, I don't think any of us would really be here. I see guides in our life. I really like that one a lot because I have a lot of people I would like to thank to help me be here today. I see a lot of God. Religious coping and religious beliefs can really help us stay strong throughout life. I've personally experienced it. For this moment is a very good one too. Just thankful being in the present is a very good response too, I feel like. Snacks is a good one too. The small little pleasures in our life that can help us feel better when we're not feeling the best at the moment. Teacher is also a very good one, I feel like. The earth. We have like Earth Day, but I think every day should be Earth Day in that we need to give thanks to the world we live on and all of the resources it can provide us. So this is just a small yet significant example of all of the different things that we need to be grateful for. We're all very lucky to be in the positions that we are in at the moment. And we will honestly benefit a lot and find ourselves being a lot less stressful if we could show appreciation for this in our day-to-day lives. By realizing how lucky we are, we will in turn feel less stressed and more grateful. Thank you so much. Now I will pass it back to Aditya to lead the panel discussion.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Daksha, Shefali, Shivam, Samya, for the fantastic presentation. I'm definitely going to practice some of these techniques, especially the combining gratitude and journaling and doing creating a gratitude journal in my life. It's now time to get into the last and final section of today's program. It's going to be a panel discussion with some very accomplished panelists. And the way this section is going to work is I will introduce our panelists, and I will begin by asking each of them 1 to 2 questions. And that'll take about 15 to 20 minutes. And in the last 5 to 10 minutes, I will ask them specific questions from you, the audience. So if you have a question, please type it into the comment section on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're watching this. And someone from our team will convey the question to me, and I will ask the panelists. And in the question, please make sure it's brief. So let me introduce our panelists. We have 4 of them here today with us. First is Nina Devi Eisenhart. She's a yoga teacher and a sevika in the Yoga Vidya ashram in Germany for the last 1.5 years. After leading a very stressful life, she has dedicated her life to the integral yoga path, including yoga therapy in the lineage of Swami Shivananda. And she is serving in the therapeutical yoga lessons and Vedic reciting, as well as breathwork sessions to help people connect with themselves and cultivate peace. Lizette Montiel Ugalde is an educator and a medical interpreter in Mexico. She's grown up within the Girl Scout movement, and she learned the importance of service and empathy and respect. And these are the values that have been a guide in her life. She self-taught English, and she's certified by the Cambridge University. And for over a decade, she's been a dedicated teacher, inspiring her students to be global citizens. And her commitment to peace, unity, and respect for all forms of life led her to become a cat rescuer. And she aims to build a better world with her actions. Third is Victoria Honnold. She grew up in New Mexico and did her PhD in epigenetics. She is now a fellow at Harvard Medical School, studying gene regulation and developing neural tissues. And she's also a long-distance runner and follows the Boston Celtics basketball team. And lastly, we have Abhiram Bashyam. He's a hand surgeon at Massachusetts General Hospital and an assistant professor at the Harvard Medical School. He teaches students from undergrads to fully trained orthopedic and plastic surgeons, and he loves spending time with family, running, and reading books. So please join me in welcoming all of our panelists. So I want to begin with you, Lizzie. From your perspective as an educator, I would love to understand more about what you believe are the major causes of stress among young people today. And once Lizzie is done answering, we can also hear from any of the other panelists if you want to share on that topic.
Aditya, thank you for inviting me to speak on this panel. Stress is a pervasive challenge for youth around the world, and it stems from several key factors. Among others, academic pressure. One of the most significant stressors young people face today is the immense pressure to excel academically. With growing competition for college admissions, scholarships, and job opportunities, students often feel they must meet extraordinarily high expectations and standards. This pressure to achieve perfect grades can lead to anxiety, burnout, and the sense of failure if expectations aren't met. Second, social media and comparison. Social media plays a large role in modern life, but it also contributes to stress. Young people constantly compare themselves to the curated, often unrealistic images they see online. The pressure to present a perfect life, appearance, and success can create feelings of inadequacy and lead to issues like depression, anxiety, and body image struggles. The third is uncertainty about the future. With the rapidly changing global economy, climate change, and political instability, many young people feel uncertain about their future. This uncertainty breeds fear and stress as they worry about securing stable careers, affording housing, and even addressing the environmental crisis that seem to be escalating. The fourth is the family and social expectations. In many cultures, societal and familial expectations place a heavy burden on young people, whether it's pressure to pursue a specific career path, adhere to traditional values, or meet milestones like marriage and starting a family. These expectations can conflict with personal aspirations, causing stress and identity struggles. The fifth is the mental health stigma. Despite growing awareness about mental health, there remains a stigma in many societies that prevents young people from seeking help. The fear of being judged or misunderstood can keep them from reaching out for support, leaving them to navigate their stress and emotional effectiveness alone. The sixth is the economic stress. With rising cost of living and student debt, many young people experience financial stress early on, whether it's balancing part time jobs with school or facing uncertain job markets after graduation. Economic pressure contributes significantly to their overall stress levels. So, in conclusion, I think addressing the causes of stress among young people requires a multifaceted approach, including promoting mental health support, creating environments where they feel less pressure to meet unrealistic expectations, and providing them with tools to cope with uncertainty. By empowering young minds to address these stressors, we contribute to a better and more compassionate world.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else want to add anything to that in the topic of causes of stress before we actually get into some potential solutions? Abhiram, Victoria, or Devi? Okay, well, if not, we can dive into some more of ways of how we can tackle this. So now that we've kind of identified some causes, I want to bring you in, Victoria, especially given your research on some of these topics. I want to learn from you on the biological mechanisms behind stress, especially chronic stress, and how this can impact our overall well-being and our life.
Great. Yes. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak on this. And this is something that this is a topic that I think about quite regularly, being trained in epigenetics and kind of bridging that with neuroscience. So naturally, I turn to biology and kind of evolutionary basis to explain our natural world. And so I want to touch on this idea of transgenerational inheritance. And so, of course, we know from this afternoon how stress affects us, but another way that chronic stress can affect our lives is actually through our children and through our grandchildren. And so what we know now, and this is kind of really cutting edge science, and so there's still a lot of research currently being done to understand the molecular mechanisms of how this works. But this idea of transgenerational inheritance is that when you are stressed, not only are you affected, but it actually changes your gametes. So for example, in a mother, or in a female, it will change her eggs, like the way that your DNA is organized within those eggs. And so your child may come out and have higher incidences of stress and anxiety. And not only your child, but your grandchild as well. So we know now that there can be biochemical modifications on the DNA. So methylation groups, acetylation groups that actually bind to your DNA and can be passed on through generations. And there have been many studies of this. People look at Holocaust survivors and their grandchildren, African Americans that were enslaved. But now people are looking at more just chronic stress from day-to-day life. And so I think this kind of makes sense from an evolutionary perspective because thousands of years ago, when we were hunters and gatherers, or when we were being maybe chased by another tribe, if a mother is stressed, or before she has her child, if she's stressed and then she becomes pregnant, that child needs to be primed for this stressful environment. And so that used to be evolutionary advantageous. So if the mother was in a stressful spot, then the child would come out kind of on high alert. And this was great. But in today's society, we just call this anxiety because there's no real reason, at least for many of us, to have to worry about food or to worry about being hunted or being worried about forced migration, at least in the US oftentimes. And so now this has become a problem. So what was advantageous thousands of years ago is now leading to increased incidences of anxiety. And so what can we do to kind of break this cycle from a biological perspective? And much like what we talked about earlier in the seminar today, is really seeking support and community to help us kind of lean on each other, but also developing habits and routines to kind of break that cycle of chronic stress. And I know it's so easy to say, and it took me until I was really 30 years old to actually commit to this and these routines, but it really does help.
I would love to get into those routines in just maybe another couple of minutes. But before that, I wanted to also bring in some of our other panelists. Many of us have very stressful jobs, myself included as a management consultant. And I find that there are times where I can get stressed very easily by the demands of my job. And Abhiram, you're a surgeon, and clearly that's a very demanding job as well. And so I want to understand from you how you manage stress in your life, and if you have also managed to integrate any spiritual practices into your professional life as a way of managing that stress.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, go ahead.
Actually, both of you contribute. Why don't we have Abhiram talk first, and then we'll have Victoria answer that question also.
Sure. Thanks for having me. I think the nice thing about being a surgeon is that once you're a surgeon and you've done so much training, it becomes like a job. And in many ways, I love my job. Sometimes it feels like a hobby. So the act of being a surgeon is not what's stressful. It's everything around that. So, there are roles and responsibilities and commitments you've made as a surgeon to your patients and to the hospital and to others. And then at the same time, you have to balance it with commitments like this, like signing up for something on a weekend or time away from home or family. And so it's actually the planning and preparation involved with everything else that can make the job feel stressful, but really it's just a failure of planning or preparation. And so for me, the most important thing is I plan and I prepare, and not just for surgery, but for everything, where I am in a given time, where I have to get to at a big picture level, and sometimes at a detailed level. And I find that where I get stress in my day is when my plans fall apart. And I think from a spiritual perspective, the thing that I go back to is, you can plan and you can prepare, but at the end of the day, you don't control the outcome. So you do your best. You try to come in and create an environment that is as least stressful as possible, but you don't have control over what that final outcome is. It can feel terrifying at first to realize that the outcome is not in your control, but actually it's quite freeing. So I just do my best every day. Most of the time people do really well, otherwise I would stop being a surgeon. But sometimes people don't do so well. And it's really easy to beat yourself up and become depressed or stressed or decide to quit and never do it again. But sometimes it's out of your control. Sometimes it is still in your control, but but that's the big thing I come away with is, I do my best, but at the end of the day, I'm not the controller of the outcome, whether good or bad. I'm not responsible for the great outcomes. I'm not completely responsible for the bad outcomes. I just do my best. And I kind of embrace living in the moment of the job, and that's what makes me happy.
Wonderful. Victoria, did you have something to add to that?
Oh, yeah, sure. I think for me also, it's just kind of it took a second for me to realize that I need to break some of these societal norms, especially like as a younger person. So, for example, as soon as class let out on Friday, in my mind, it turned off. That was my time to go out and hang with my friends. Saturday was a complete rest day. But I feel like I've changed a lot since I've had more responsibilities, especially if, for example, you have a big exam coming up or a paper. It's just in your best interest to take a couple hours on that Friday and just keep studying. And I don't know why I had decided, oh, well, it's Friday, that means I get the day completely off. It's just really parsing this out and just doing like, okay, if you can do a couple hours on Friday still, you don't need to take the whole Friday off. You don't need to take the whole Saturday off. Do a couple hours of your responsibilities on Saturday too. And it really adds up, and it really, really helps at the end of the day. Like managing that stress, because you won't be pulling that all-nighter before the exam.
Okay, that makes sense. That's very helpful. We have spoken a lot about stress. We've spoken a little bit about how to manage it from a few different perspectives. I want to bring in our last panelist who hasn't had a chance to contribute yet. Nina Devi, you're a yoga teacher. I feel like you might have a unique perspective on this, on how, I guess, in your experience, what kind of practices people can deploy in their lives to transcend stress.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So what we know from the scriptures also is that if we're getting stressed, our mind is very speeded up. And what we try to do in yoga is to slow down the mind. So what we can do to like regulate our stress a lot is just to slow down by breathing. So because our breath, as we know, is connected to prana, is also connected to our body. So everything that's going on biologically, like the high tension, and also maybe you're getting like, I don't know, your heartbeat is getting faster, or you're shivering, or what else. So this is connected to your breathing as well, and to your prana. So if you have the perspective of yoga, and especially of pranayama techniques, then you can easily slow down your body and also your mind. So, and this also long-term helps to avoid like chronic pain or chronic diseases that are easily get created by stress somehow.
For sure. Thank you for sharing that. We do have some audience questions popping in, but before I get to that, I would love to give the panelists each a chance to answer one overarching question. As someone who, as people who come from different backgrounds, right, from education to medicine to research to yoga, what advice would you give a young person in their, say, 20s on how to manage the demands of a stressful career or stressful education with the need for inner peace? All of you are welcome to answer this question. It's open and directed to everybody. Nina, since you're unmuted.
Yeah. So I'd say if you have the opportunity to get into yoga, and then as we were talking a lot about routines, try to get yoga into your routine and make it small, because if you're overwhelmed, your mind is stressed, you have a lot of things on your checklist. So try to do these mindful practices, but try to slow them down. So don't stress about spiritual practice as well. And also don't stress about getting less stressed. So just try to find a spot in your day to remind yourself of your spiritual practice to get connected to your body and also to your soul again, because what happens is that we're getting so disconnected from ourselves that we also don't see solutions. So if we're getting into connection by yoga, for example, or other mindful practices, we also calm down, and then what happens is like our whole mind opens up, and for somehow we see more wide open perspectives of how we can maybe slower down everything that's getting stressed or everything in that situation that is stressing us. So we see just more solutions to that. And my one-time best options always breathe. There's so many nice pranayama techniques that you can do for just 2 or 3 minutes in the moment you're getting stressed to calm down your body. It's really, it's magic.
Wonderful. I see a lot of questions coming in, so I'm going to now. Actually, does anyone else want to answer, Lizzie or Victoria?
Yeah, well, I was about to say that it's something similar, but you need to have like something that connects with your own self, like a hobby or something that relaxes you, being maybe reading or singing, or it's something that is just for you. Because we usually give all our time and all our thinking to school or to our jobs. Like even when we are out of our workspaces or study spaces, we continue thinking about that and we forget about ourselves. So I think we need to give a moment during our day, or at least once or twice a week, to something that connects you with you, like to feel yourself, not thinking about everyone else's expectations or anything that you have to do, right? Like there is something, always something you have to do, something you have to read, something you have to deliver. But I think you need to give your time, your space to you to connect with yourself. Yoga will be wonderful, but I think at least like if you like listening to music, if you like dancing, if you like singing, at least like singing for 5 or 10 minutes and connect to yourself. I think that really gets you into a peaceful space and not to lose yourselves in the way.
That makes sense. Okay, cool. So let's open it up into our panel discussion and the audience participation portion of this. So there was a question that came, I think it may have been directed at Abhiram, who unfortunately had to drop due to an emergency in the hospital. But the question maybe the others can tackle is, how do you feel less stressful when things don't go your way, even if you've worked hard and you've planned things out well? Maybe Victoria, do you want to try that?
Sure. I think from a spiritual perspective, it's important to give yourself grace, and you are juggling a lot of things, and everyone on this entire panel discussion and in this chat has had an exam or an event that didn't go as they had planned. And I think that giving yourself grace, taking a step away, and then coming back and reevaluating how you could perhaps do better in the future is the best way, at least personally, moving forward.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that.
I think also something that I remember Dr. Vikram saying was like try to not to control what is over like your control, right? Like other people's reactions or the way the situation goes in that moment is beyond yourself, right? It's not something that you can control. So if you try to control everything and to try to make it everything like a perfection, that is going to cause you more stress. So you can only be aware of yourself and what your actions and your reactions, and not to try to control everyone else's or all the situation, because that is going to be a mess at the end.
Yeah, definitely. There are 2 questions I have for Nina that also came through in the chat. Are there any specific breathing techniques that work for you? That's question 1. And then question 2 was, how do you reestablish connection with your body/soul to relieve stress? I'm happy to repeat again if that's helpful.
Okay, so the first was, is there a special technique? So again?
Yeah, any specific breathing technique? That was the question. Yes.
Yeah. So also what we use in yoga therapy is that, I mean, there's so many techniques, especially for breathing. And in the end, it really doesn't matter. But my favorite technique also is mentioned a lot of in the scriptures. Hatha Pradipika Yoga Sutra, you can find it everywhere, is Nadi Shuddhi. So you can place your hand like this. And then, I mean, some of you might seen it before. And then you close your right nostril, breathe in through the left, and then change to the left, open the right, and breathe out to the right. And then you do the same backwards. So what it does, it is connecting your two brain halves, and it's harmonizing your whole system. And don't do it with breath retention, because breath retention is really like more advanced, what you see in Anuloma Viloma. So only like breathing to the left, breathing through the right, breathing through the right, breathe out to the left, and that's it. And you can do that like 10 minutes, 2 minutes, how much time you have. And the second one was?
How do you reestablish connection with your body / soul to relieve stress?
I mean, there's so many techniques as well in yoga that you can do. Also, there's what it does, it's breathing, because like we have sheets in yoga philosophy, we say, and your body is just the first sheet, you know, and then breathing, prana, is the second one. And then third is your emotions. So also what Liz was saying is that you don't only need to do yoga, you can also dance, you know, just do something with your body that makes you connected and focus on your breathing. I mean, I can't say it, like, why do we say in yoga all the time, breathe in, breathe out, do the next step, breathe in, because this is connecting our soul, our emotions to our body. But also, if there's something else that you can do, go to nature, breathe in the nature, dance, just feel like, yeah, find something that is connecting you to your body and to move your body, because we're sitting a lot, you know? So also move your body in some way, do sports. But as, of course, as a yoga teacher and also as a sevika, I would recommend to do yoga and also find your style in yoga, because there's so many different styles that you can do. So maybe you just didn't found the right teacher or the right style for yourself.
Makes sense. Another question that has come is, could you please share a time when you were overwhelmed and tell us how you worked through it? It says, many times I can't meet my goals. Does anyone want to take that? It's not directed at anybody. If you have an example.
Sure, I can take that.
Okay.
So I think, yes, we are always so overwhelmed. And how do you prioritize? You know, are you going to prioritize studying for an exam or filling out a job application over exercise? Or are you going to when there really aren't enough hours in the day? Because sometimes that, unfortunately, is the case. And I think that it's about figuring out what works best for you. So for example, oftentimes universities or workplaces will have things like coffee breaks, like, you know, for their employees, or will have, you know, come pet a bunch of puppies to relieve stress. They have little events like that. And that works for my friends, and I love that for them, but it just does not work for me. And I've learned that about myself, and I think that's totally okay. But experimenting and finding out what works for you is a great thing to do as a young person. And I don't think that you need to have it all figured out, but going through that journey is something that we've all done, and you will find your routine. And I think that's wonderful.
Okay. Unfortunately, I think that is all we have time for today. So thank you all so much for your participation. I want to thank Vivek ji. I want to thank the presenters, Daksha, Samya, Shivam, Shafali. And I want to thank all the panelists, Victoria, Lizzie, Nina Devi, and Abhiram. And most importantly, I want to thank all of the members of the audience for your attention, your questions, and your participation. If you want to learn more about United Consciousness or get in touch, you can visit our website at unitedconsciousness.in. If you want to learn more about our first speaker, Acharya Vivekji, and his courses, you can visit chinmayaniagara.com. Once again, thank you all so much for joining us today, and have a great rest of the weekend. I will now pass it back to the United Consciousness team. Thank you.
It's my honor to invite our guest Shri Dinesh K. Patnaik. He is a career diplomat of the Indian Foreign Services with experience of over 25 years in a variety of interesting and challenging assignments. He has served an Indian mission in Geneva, Dhaka, Beijing and Vienna. At headquarters, he has served in the European-based External Publicity, Africa and UN Division. Shri Patnaik served as a Deputy Chief of Mission at the Indian Embassy in Vienna from 2009 to 2012. He was India's ambassador to Cambodia from 12 to 15. He was India's ambassador to the Kingdom of Morocco from 2015 to 16. He was Deputy High Commissioner of India to London from 16 to 18. He was Additional Secretary, Indian Ocean Region from November 18 to July 19. And thereafter Additional Secretary, CVP and OIA from July 2019 to January 20 in the Ministry of External Affairs. Shri Dinesh K. Patnaik assumed charge as Ambassador of India to Spain and Andorra on 16 January 2022. Mr. Patnaik holds a master's degree in business administration from the Indian Institute of Management, Kolkata. He holds a master's degree in advanced international studies from the University of Vienna and certificate in international studies from the Diplomatic Academy, Vienna. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Shri Dinesh K. Patnaik.
Namaskar.
Namaste, sir. So much happy and inspired to see you again. I'm joined with Mr. Prasad from USA to welcome you. And sir, United Consciousness has always been blessed with your guidance and your inspiration. Since you were president, you were DGICCR since then. Thank you very much, sir. We all are eager to listen to you. All stages.
Thank you, Vikrant ji, and thank you, Prashad Kabur. It's very nice. No, you've given me a topic of cultural exchange and spiritual growth, learning from different traditions. So I'll try and address those issues because those issues are very close to me. Because at the end of the day, what makes us human is culture and spirituality. It differentiates it from animals, it differentiates it from other persons, and every society has it. You know, the whole idea of United Consciousness is to tell that the world has one consciousness, that we are ultimately all the same people. There are no differences between us. We behave the same way. Our culture, our spirituality, the way we deal with things on a daily basis are something which is geographically specific but share the same traits. And every society has it. Nobody has unique control over culture. And today, you do cultural exchange every day because in an interconnected world, cultural exchange is inevitable. We travel, we go all over the world. When we travel, we meet people. Many of us migrate from one country to another. We watch television, listen to music, watch films, read books and magazines. All of this is cultural exchange happening every day because we see different aspects of the world every day. We are reading about other people, we are seeing how they behave, what they do. This is all cultural exchange. And when you look at all cultures in the world, spirituality is a very essential part of every culture. There is no culture in the world which doesn't have spirituality in some form or the other. And now spirituality is different from religiosity. When I talk of spirituality, I talk about a person believing in the spirit of himself, of his life, of the world around him, of nature around him. And it is very important. And culture is closely linked with spirituality and religion. Both culture and spirituality come from where? It comes from humans trying to understand the world around us, right? The search for meaning of life. What is our place in the world? Who are we? Why do we exist? What is our purpose? Is there a force powerful that controls us? Have we been created by somebody? Who has created his world? All these are questions which culture and spirituality are the ways that we have created to answer these questions for ourselves. And yet we cannot get answers from them. So we look for uh, answers in different places. And this is what makes us look at the world around us to see, can we find answers in other spiritualities, other cultures, other religions? Can we find it in among ourselves? Are we doing our own spirituality in a manner which makes sense to us? So we build this system of cultural and spirituality, and everybody has it. There is no human being who does not question his existence as to, why do I exist? Have I been created? Is there a purpose in my life? What is my purpose? Human beings are constantly searching for purpose. And culture and spirituality is the environment which helps us find a purpose for ourselves. And all of them have the same characteristics. You look at spirituality in every religion, every society in the world. What are the characteristics? Most of them have the same characteristic. One is prayers. Everybody prays. Some pray with rosaries, some pray with just normally, some pray with on books, some pray on meditation. But prayer and meditation is an essential part of every spiritual. Fasting, every spirituality. The Muslims have 30 days of Ramadan, the Christians have 40 days of Lent, Hindus have Navratris 4 times in a year, and many other fasting, diet control, what you should eat. You should become vegetarian on this date, you should not become. These are all essential part of every spiritual organization. Chanting, meditation, these are all practices which are common to all of us. But spirituality became religion. So, what is the difference between religion and spirituality? I consider them almost the same. The difference being, in religion, spirituality gets organized. Organized, what is organized? It means you have rituals, ceremonies of important events. What are the important events in anybody's life? One is the birth of a newborn, a marriage, a death, or when you desire something, when you want divine intervention to help you get something. These are all transition events in your life. All these transition events, whether it's birth, death, marriage, desire to do well in your job, in your business, in something, so you want divine intervention, these are all transition events. All these religions creates a network of ceremonies and rituals around them, but spirituality remains at the core. So this is important to understand, because at the end of the day, religion is no different from spirituality. Religion just has something. What more? You have texts, you have books, you have distinct clothing. Some people wear saffron clothing, some wear white, some put a cap on the head, some put a shawl where posting. So these are different ways to identify, but these are identification to get a common identity among yourselves. Again, it goes back to the same thing. All of us looking for who we are, defining ourselves, what is our purpose. And so clothing, the text, the books, all these are a way of reaffirming what we are. And so while they're all different in terms of the religious practices, in essence, spirituality remains the same. And there is not much different, because what do we want in spirituality? At the end of the day, all religion wants salvation. What is salvation? That my good deeds, what I have done well in this world, should be rewarded. That is the essential part of salvation. Christianity have their own salvation. We have our own salvation to be able to be free from the cycle of life, to get nirvana. The Buddhists have their own. The Muslims have their own. All of them. Ultimately, the salvation becomes very important. So spirituality, along with all the things, and in this, when religion comes into place, when spirituality becomes religion, it becomes through culture. How? People may ask, how does really spirituality become religion through culture? It's very simple. What do you do in religion that you don't have just in spirituality? You have clothes, dresses, your feasts, occasions, prayers. Then there's music. Music is a very important part of spirituality. All religious traditions have music. Music makes you connect with whatever, the consciousness, the united consciousness, the global consciousness. Music is an essential part. Dance, look at India. All our classical dances are all temple dances, came out of the spiritual tradition of the temples. Dances didn't happen on its own. Animism has dances. Even the Muslim religion have the dervish dances. You have all religions have dances, have music, have art, culture. Painting becomes important. How do you portray the Almighty? How do you put them into picture? So all this is part of culture. So religion, spirituality on its way to become religion goes through culture. And so this is very important to understand, because at the end there is not much difference between what is a spiritual person and what is a cultured person and what is a religious person. They're all the same. And so the distinctions we make today, these artificial distinctions we make when we talk about my religion, your religion, mine is better, yours is better, is all artificial distinctions. But this is a different world. I will not talk about it because we are talking about spirituality and culture. And what does spirituality help? Because there are two parts of it. One is the societal part. In the societal part, it helps in social cohesion, in getting people together, because religion and spirituality works when it is in groups. When you pray in groups, you find more profoundness inside you. When you do spirituality in groups, that's the reason spiritual groups become so important. Any activity that you do together with others becomes stronger. Yoga, simple thing. When you do yoga, it becomes a much better practice. You do exercises. Why do you go to a gym? Not because you can get the machines at home. You go to a gym because you do it with other people. It's social, the social nature of human beings. You want to do things together because it gives you greater fulfillment. Same thing with spirituality and religion. So if you take out all these things, for the individual, what is it that you get from the spirituality, religion, culture, all these things? There have been studies done in many universities across the world. I can cite you some of the studies. That a spiritual person, a cultured person, is less depressive, less depression, less anxious, less anxiety, more confidence. If you look at the spiritual well-being, of course, is very high, but also the mental well-being and the health well-being. So less blood pressure, less sugar spikes. It's a much more happier, relaxed, and a joyful person who is truly spiritual, religious, and cultured. And then what do they share? There is this connection, this oneness, the feeling that we are all one. And then what? Prejudices drop, biases drop. You start looking at everybody with the same. You don't think, oh, here's a Muslim, here's a Christian, I'm a Hindu. These are not questions you look. You look at human beings. Spirituality links everybody. This oneness, this connectedness is very important. And through this connectedness, oneness, you have an inner transformation, a transformation of yourselves. Because we grew up in a society which sometimes teaches us things which are not correct. Let's be very honest. We grew up in a society where we get a lot of information, a lot of facts, a lot of misinformation, a lot of disinformation. So we form opinions, we form prejudices, we form biases. Spirituality helps in lessening the biases, in understanding that at the end we are one human being, one species which is trying to exist along with nature in the world. And that if we only work together, can we do something? And then in the end, what does it bring out of you? It brings compassion and service. You look at every spiritual organization, it's based on compassion and service, serving the needy, helping the poor people, helping the people who are injured, the ill, the sick, the disabled. Compassion and service are very critical attitudes which you need to cultivate. Most of us don't. We are too aggressive sometimes. We sometimes look at aggression as a clarification or as a affirmation of the fact that we are strong people, that we are strong society, but that's not true. Compassion is a more stronger virtue than aggression. And so spirituality does all this. And so for us, learning from across the world, seeing different cultures, seeing different spiritual traditions, seeing all of them and assimilating. And here there are two things. One is appreciation, the other is appropriation. Many of us tend to appropriate things, not appreciate things. Appreciation helps us understand different cultures, understand that they all share the same traditions. For example, I'm here in Spain. There are so many traditions that we share between India and Spain. I mean, I'm sometimes surprised as to how strong it is. Like, for example, here, the very strongly Catholic country, but not more than 20% go to temples. Look at most of us. How many of us go to temples on a regular basis? They don't go to church every Sunday, every Mass. Very little people go, but they attend every celebration. For example, every village, every town in Spain has a patron saint, and they have a day on which they celebrate that patron saint, and everybody comes out. So all the major festivals, all the major events they do, the christening of the child, the marriage, all of them land up for religious events, but they don't go to church religiously, which is to a large extent like us, and which is the world which is becoming like that. And so this is a country which has made religious activity into a cultural activity. It's brought religion back to being a cultural activity because they're spiritual inside. When you're spiritual inside, you don't need religion. Religion becomes a cultural activity, a feast, a tamasha, like we say, something to be enjoyed, to be celebrated, and not something where we are always worried about divine retribution or divine power. We are here to enjoy our spirituality, and religion then becomes a celebration. And so this country is something, and look at that, they're Catholics, very strongly Catholic, but they have gay marriages, they allow abortion, contraception. The ability to think the human being as at the core, not your fixed tenets. If you have fixed tenets which go against the well-being of the human being, then it's not spiritual anymore. Then it becomes something which is strongly religious. And religion always, after some time, if you don't stop it, starts to become oppressive, controlling, something which pervades all parts of your life. Religion becomes. And so every society has gone through reformation. For us in India, we had the Bhakti movement, where when religion became too much tied to ceremonies and rituals, we had Bhakti movement. Same here in Spain. You had the Reformation, where the mystic saints. You see, mysticism is a very important part. Mysticism basically, what does it say? What is mysticism different from spirituality and religion? Religion is fixed. God said this. This is how we are supposed to follow. These are ceremonies, rituals. Mysticism says, I don't need all this. I need a direct connection with God, with love, which was Mirabai. Mirabai, what did she say? He says, I love Krishna. For me, Krishna is my love. So my spirituality, my religion comes out of love. Same way Saint Teresa of Avila. When she came, Saint Teresa of Avila in Spain, the mystic saint, she said the same thing. I love Jesus. For me, God is the embodiment of love. And so you reform it from inside because you take away the harshness of religion which starts pervading all parts of your life to become more spiritual, to become more one with yourselves, to become you and God have a direct communion. You don't need all this contraption of ceremonies and rituals in middle to do things. So these are important things to understand. So I just gave an example of Spain. I find it in every part of the world. There is no country which doesn't have mystic saints, which does not have people who believe in direct connection with God, people who believe in spirituality more than religion. They look at religion more as the cultural aspect. So when we look at the world, we are all the same. So pride of one's culture, yeah, it's good to have pride, but when the pride turns into arrogance about one's culture, that my culture is the best, that's when we start falling. That's when we need another bhakti movement. That's when we meet people like United Consciousness who are trying to bring together the world to try and see how all of we are same and how all of us can contribute to the world. So I won't say much beyond this, but thank you very much. It's been a pleasure being on United Consciousness. And I hope that you people succeed in the efforts you are making to bring the world together as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. How profoundly you said spirituality becomes religion through culture. I think this line says it all. And for the first time, I heard this line by somebody. It is a perfect connection that you established, and you said that how spiritual exchange is the way we have been brought up, we have been living. You mentioned about the essence of all spiritual pursuits are some basic questions of life, identifying our own purpose, why do we exist, and in all different ways, in all cultures, we find such pursuits. And you also said that spirituality, when becomes organized and it reflects in the culture, then it is called religion. You also mentioned that uh, when it reflects in culture, in music, in clothing, in dance, in drawing. So you mentioned that all the distinctions or the divisions are artificial, where spirituality works at both social and individual level. In social, you mentioned about importance of satsanga, and at individual level also, you mentioned many researchers also how it really contributes. And you mentioned spirituality really is thriving when we see human as human, we see oneness, and it leads to transformation. You rightly differentiated between pride and arrogance, appropriation and appreciation, and appreciating diversity but condemning divisions. And you said that religion may become oppressive, so spiritual reformations are needed time to time, and it has happened time and again. You also picked mysticism also, and you said religion has a process probably, but mysticism is direct connection with the god, and the connection which is direct with the god, with myself, is what is spirituality in its essence. Thank you very much, sir, for inspiring us with your presence. I would like to tell you that whenever you come, whole United Consciousness as an organization feels more inspired. Prasad ji also would like to add something.
Yeah, I mean, brilliantly summarized, Vikrantji. A couple of things that I took away. Spirituality is not religion. It's something, a mantra that I live by. And then you also touched upon something else, which really touches my heart. Music. Music is extremely spiritual. With music, you don't need anything else. I am a little bit of a singer myself, so I know
Right.
exactly what you're talking about. Um, so, seeing a human being as a human being, that's a virtue. And as Vikranji correctly said, appropriation versus appreciation. Thank you so much. It is truly inspiring. Thank you.
No, Prasadji, thank you very much. And Vikrant, it's always wonderful to see you. You are doing something which I really, really support. I'm sorry that today morning I got mixed up, so I couldn't come early in the morning. But please, anytime you need me to come for any of your events or whenever you are around, let me know. And it will be a pleasure to be connected with United Consciousness. Thank
Means
you
a
so
lot.
much. And
Really
namaste.
enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Shri Dinesh K. Patnaik for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to invite and introduce our next expert of meditation from Namibia, Ms. Susie Seha. She's a yoga teacher, advanced breathwork instructor, mindfulness and meditation mentor, and a founding member of the Mindfulness Institute of Namibia. She works with individuals or groups of children, teens and adults, teaching yoga, breathwork, mindfulness and meditation, offering sound journeys and facilitating creativity and inspirational workshops and retreats. She believes that the breath, gratitude, love, and kindness are sources that come from within to be used for the highest good of humanity. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Ms. Susie Seha from Namibia.
Good evening, everyone at United Consciousness and around the world. Thank you so much for having me this evening. It's this evening here. I'm not quite sure what time of the day it is where you are.
Almost noon here, New York.
Almost late night here in India.
Oh wow! Okay. Well, it's the sun is set and the day is coming to an end here. So it's actually a beautiful time to come into meditation.
I agree. So all time is yours.
Thank you very much. So everybody feel free to find a comfortable position. You could be seated, you could be lying down, whatever works for you. We really want you to be comfortable as we meditate. We do not want your physical discomfort to take away from your meditation. So find a comfortable position and let your hands rest softly down on your lap or on your knees. And if you feel safe, close your eyes. If you prefer to keep your eyes open, just cast your gaze down onto the floor in front of you and just let your vision gently blur. Gently soften your jaw, drop the shoulders, and just let the thoughts settle. And taking your attention to one point of focus and letting that point of focus be your breath right now. So just noticing the inhale and noticing the exhale. You don't have to change it. It's just giving your mind an object, giving our monkey mind a banana so that it is not distracted and jumping around. Just come to that point of focus as we find a little more stillness within. Breathing in, expanding, and breathing out, letting go. Today, imagining as you breathe in that you're breathing in peace. Breathing in peace into all the cells of your body. Breathing in peace right down to the tips of your fingers and the tips of your toes. And as you're exhaling, imagining that you're breathing this peace out to the world. So breathing in through the nose, the chest and the tummy expanding, filling with this beautiful peace that you're visualizing. And as you exhale, exhaling peace out to the world. World Peace Day. It sounds like quite a big order for an individual. How do you contribute to world peace sitting in your home, wherever you might be around the world? The most valuable contribution you can make to world peace is cultivating your inner peace. So finding moments like this of stillness where you can sit with your breath, allow yourself to focus on a sense of stillness and a sense of peace. Even if it is not still or peaceful around you. Circumstances don't always allow for the surroundings to be peaceful, but just follow the breath as you breathe in and breathe out. And for this moment, with each breath, just this breath, imagine you breathing in peace. And on your exhale, just this exhale, imagine you're breathing peace out to the rest of the world. Breathing in and breathing out. Knowing that the most valuable contribution you can make to world peace is to create your own inner peace. Allow the breath to move gently through you, breathing in and breathing out. What is peace? How do you feel peace? If peace had a color, what color would peace be for you? If peace had a fragrance, what would peace smell like for you? If peace had a sound, what would peace sound like to you? If you could touch peace, what would peace feel like under your hand to the touch? If you could see peace, what would peace look like to you? As you breathe in and breathe out, allow yourself to feel and sense and notice peace on all those different levels. Remembering the fragrance, remembering the sound, remembering the touch, remembering the color of peace as you breathe in and out, softly, gently, in and out through the nose. Allowing the body to fill with your color of peace. As if you're breathing in that color. As if that color is filling the space around the body. Allow the vibration of the sound of peace to fill your body. As you breathe in and out through your nose. Allow the fragrance of peace to permeate the air around you and the whole of your body as you breathe in and out through your nose. And allow the touch of peace to move across the skin of the body, enveloping you in peace. Breathing in, breathing out, softly and kindly. Finding that still point inside you. Where is your breath landing in you right now? Where do you feel peace right now? Can you allow yourself to feel peace right now? And as you sit here in meditation, enveloping yourself with all the senses of peace, know that even if it's difficult and challenging for you to find peace right now, Know that everybody here is breathing out peace in support of you. You're not alone. We're all connected, a united consciousness. As we breathe peace for ourselves, and as we breathe peace for those who cannot right now. Peace above me, peace below me, peace in front of me, peace behind me, peace to my left, peace to my right, peace inside of me, and peace surrounding me. See if you can expand the next inhale. And see if you can soften the next exhale. Know that you are held here today through our united consciousness, through our wishes of peace to you, to ourselves, and to the whole of our world, all the sentient beings, mankind, and creation. Bring your hands together into prayer pose. May there be peace in your hearts, peace in your homes, and peace around the world. Namaste. Thank you.
What a beautiful way to end a beautiful event. Thank you so much, Susie Seha.
That is absolutely my pleasure.
Yeah, you took us on a journey of self-introspection and self-knowledge in such a short time. And, the best contribution you can make, you said, is to create your own inner peace by breathing peace out, by radiating peace out. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Ms. Susie Seha for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness. Thank you so much.
It's worth waiting.
So I have this challenging task of giving vote of thanks. I have so many people to thank. First of all, on behalf of United Consciousness, I salute each participant and each presenter. What a better way to start this event than Vikrantji's words to wisdom. War begins in the mind of man, he said. And there are three kinds of peace, he explained. There are three questions that everyone has in their mind. Peace with me, within me, peace with people around me, and peace with the whole world. Next, we heard from Sri Mohit Kumarji, and he talked about several verses, and then he explained the secret to success, and he emphasized one thing: there's no substitute for hard work. Following which, Pujya Swami Mitranandaji talked about how to educate the youth. You have to be a role model for them. You have to guide them. You cannot dictate to them what you want them to learn. What an incredibly powerful message. And it has to be student-driven and student-centered. That's the essence of what he was saying. Bala and buddhi, strength and intelligence and knowledge. And then Pujya Shri Gaurang Dasji, he talked about many different things, extremely rich content of the scriptures. One thing that I took away is Swabhav and Swadharma, your nature and your occupation. If there's a mismatch between the two, there's no peace. And thank you, Ujjwala ji, for showing us how to do real yoga asanas. They are extremely useful. Anyone can go back to this video and then watch them and then learn and practice, of course. And what can I say about Acharya Vivek and his team? I wouldn't even attempt to capture the brilliance of his delivery and the clarity of his message. Cultivate resilience through exercise, examples, and ethics. Wow, very incredibly well summarized. And a special shout out to the young panelists, young from my point of view. Let me mention everyone's names. Aditya, Shafali, Daksha, Samya, Shivam, Victoria, Abhiram, Nina, and Lizette. Thank you so much for the wonderful work you're doing. Your leadership is truly inspiring. Sri Patnaik ji, what can I say? He put it all together. He told us how religion is different, how religion can be dogmatic, while spirituality is not. Spirituality is liberating and religion can be oppressive. We need to see human beings as human beings. And of course, what an amazing, beautiful, beautiful, peaceful culmination of all these teachings into a real, real ecstatic inner journey, and then finding ourselves, finding who we are through breathing peace out. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Have a great day.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्।
This shloka means, may everyone be happy, may everyone be free from all diseases, may everyone see goodness and auspiciousness in everything, may none be unhappy or distressed. Om Shantihi, Shantihi, Shantihi. I am highly privileged to have this opportunity to present my gratitude to all those who have witnessed and blessed this event directly or indirectly. I believe that this is not the end, but the beginning of our journeys. The journeys towards the noble cause of removing the 14 divides rooted in human race and promoting harmonious and peaceful coexistence. Firstly, I thank the God for blessing us all. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Rajesh Rabindranath of Project Self USA, Yogi Baba Adnan and Madam Kubuk of Siddha Ashram Yoga Center, Mr. Andre Reel of Nidra Yoga, Swami Suryananda Saraswati of European Yoga Federation, Mr. Sukhdev Volker-Britz of Yoga Vidya, Mr. Valdemar Parado of Yoga Yogeshmo, Ms. Patricia Begley of AAYT, Ms. Emmy Blessio of CUIDY, Miss Valentina Cortene of African Spiritual Council, Mr. Andre Lebenau of Yoga Lam, Mr. Josh Pryor of Yoga Australia, and Mr. Jose Druge of the for your invaluable contribution and support. I'm also very thankful to Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomar of United Consciousness for hosting such a beautiful program. I also thank Team United Consciousness for their valuable contributions to such a beautiful program.